All right, hey guys. This video is for entertainment and education purposes only. Any and everything I say could be wrong, and that's why I say do your own research and come to your own conclusions. That's what I say. I want to try to, if I stay focused on this video, then it won't then I won't digress, as the cool kids say. So, all right. So I'm gonna go straight for it. Gypsy Fox put out a video that was a really good clip, and it was what's that guy's name? Oh shit, man, I can't remember his name. Oh, Mike Watt? No, Watts. Alan Watt, or is it Watts? I don't know. You got Alan Watt, and then you have Alan Watts. Anyways, there's this good clip of Alan Watt or Watts, and he's talking to somebody called in. I think that's what it sounded like. Or he was having Alan Watt was having a discussion with this guy, and this guy was making all these really good points about, everything wrong with Christianity. Dude, the thing is it's really easy to point out everything wrong with Christianity. Like, I don't think there is a person in the world that doesn't understand. Like, there are these massive flaws with what you call Christianity. But Gypsy Fox asked, he said, Jim and Diane, he asked Jim and Diane, the Jim Rizzoli, from Jim Rizzoli, right? Jim Rizzoli channel, and any Christians to please do a commentary on this clip. And the clip is of Alan Watt and some guy having a valid discussion of all these flaws with Christianity. Like I said, dude, obvious. There is no secret. There is no secret here. Like, everybody knows. We've all seen the Joel Osteens and all these freaks, like the Jimmy Swaggarts, and they're fucking complete total freaks, and they're fucking billionaires because they're swindling all of these people out of money. Like, we've all seen it, all these crazy fanatics, these insane fanatics, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I could do videos all day, like, just talking about how, like, look at Christianity, like, look at this fucking circus, so anyways, so I've decided I'll just do a response video to that. But, like, why? It doesn't matter, because, see, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I say. A person is going to believe anything they want, no matter what. Dude, I mean, this is the way the whole world is there's what people want to believe. This is what you need to know about the truth. There's what people want to hear. There's what people want to believe. There's everything else. Then there's the truth. And so, if you want to know the truth about Christianity, if that's what this is all about, the truth about Christianity. Well, first of all, what is Christianity? Okay, how about this? Like, look at the truther movement. How is the truther movement any different than the Christian movement? It's not. Look at all these fucking fake truthers everywhere, dude. But you can call them truthers all day, even though they're fake truthers. They're not even real truthers. They're fakes. They don't practice honesty. They're not seeking truth. but they are, but in the public eye, they are the big giant Richie from Boston, and they're just going to keep getting views, and they're just going to keep getting likes, and they're just going to keep getting money sent to them. Just like Joel Osteen is going to keep, the flock is going to keep coming to his congregation. The flock is going to continue putting money in the back. It's the same as Richie from Boston. Like, you know, and the whole world is like this. Everything is like this. Buddhism is like this. Dude, you see all these fake Buddhists, they just like the fashion. Buddhism is a fashion. You know, you wear the Buddhist beads, you wear the hippie trippy Buddhist fucking shirts, and you walk around barefoot with your Buddhist bell bottom. It's in everything, everywhere. Look at all these fake fascists. Fake fucking fascists. They claim that they're, you know, against, you know, Israel, and they're fake, dude. They're fake Christians, fake fascists, fake truthers, and that's in everything, everywhere. Like, everything is fake. It is literally a Potemkin village. Don't you know what a Potemkin village is? That means, like, in a Potemkin village, the whole village is just stage props. That's all it is. When you go, like, you see the front, the storefront of a building, and you're like, oh, and you're in the Potemkin village, and here's the storefront, and you go to go into the building, and there's like nothing. There isn't even a structure. Like, there isn't even a door. The door is fake. You can't even open there is no door. It's painted on there. And this is with everything. Republicans are fake Republicans, fake Democrats, fake apolitical people. I love it how everybody pretends they don't know what apolitical means. Look at all these fake people that are screaming at the top of their lungs how everybody that votes is stupid because it's all two wings of the same bird. Like, these people are fake. They have all these political leanings in one sense or the other, whether they lean more towards the liberal ideology or the conservative ideology, they still lean more one way or the other. But then they're always proclaiming how they're totally apolitical, non-political. They're fucking, you know, all these dick swingers swinging around all over the place, claiming to be this and that, and they're fucking fakes, and they're everywhere. And Christianity is no different. You know, what does the word truther mean when you go to the so-called truther movement, and like 90% of everybody in the truther movement are all liars? What does that make the word truther even mean? What does the word truther mean? What about, okay, cops? Oh, the police force is serving and protecting the people, right? Well, you know that's not true, so they're fake. They serve and protect the people that run the corporations, but they don't serve and protect the people. They're fake. That's not real police. But they wield a gun and they wield the power. So you better fucking obey, or unless you want to go to jail. You know, everything is fake. So say somebody wants me to do a video. Dude, I want you to do a video and talk about Buddhism. And I'll be like, all right, well, most of these people that claim that they're Buddhists, they're fake. They don't even follow, they don't follow the Buddhist traditions at all. It's all just they want to look cool. So they walk around barefoot with Buddhist bell bottoms and a hippie trippy tie-dye shirt with a picture of Buddha on the front and some Buddha beads, and they got a joint hanging out their mouth, and then they act like they're all zen. They're just like, "What's up, bro? What's up, dude? You guys want to go do some meditation out in the desert, man?" You know, You want me to talk about Buddhism? That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, like, they're all these people are fake, you know. You want me to talk about Wiccans and shit like this? Paganism and shit? All these people that claim that they're pagans, they're fake. They go to the shopping mall and they walk into the Spencer's store at the shopping mall and they find these shitty like fake Wiccan books with Wiccan spells and they you know put all this goth shit on and they walk around and they act like that they're some kind of Wiccan and they're fake. You know, Satanists, the same thing, all these fake Satanists. They're never gonna go drink baby's blood because they know that they're not gonna get away with it. The only people that can get away with doing that are, you know, the Clintons and shit. Dude, all these fake people, fake liberal. Dude, California is this massive shithole of fake liberals that all they do is virtue signal and act like they care about equality and they care about black people. They don't care about any of that. So you want to talk about Christians? Well, what is a liberal? When all these people that claim to be liberals, they're all fake. They don't really believe in equality. They're NIMBYists. Not in my backyard. Oh, I'm all for equality, just not in my backyard. You know, have that equality stuff way over there, miles away. You know, those are fake liberals, and the whole state of California is a bunch of fake liberals. So if when we're looking at this whole idea of the liberal ideology, and the majority of all these people claiming to be liberals are fake liberals, and then say somebody says, "Hey, Angry Hobo, I want you to do a video and talk about, you know, the liberal ideology, you know, and why, you know." Why you think it's fake? Why you think it's bad? And I'd be like, well, the idea of liberalism, I'm not necessarily like opposed to. It's that all these people have subverted it and taken it over, and they're all fake. So that's that, you know. And I mean, it's in everything. You look at any and everything, dude. Everything is fake. Fake money. Money is fake. You know? And I keep saying this over and over, and nobody wants to acknowledge it because people don't like the truth. You know, they only like the truth if it's gonna, you know, fit their narrative. You know, the truth about how the money system is as fake and gay as the voting system. But I don't hear any of you people complaining about the fake money system, but you complain all day about the fake voting system. And anybody that votes is stupid. But see, the money system is just as fake as the voting system, and you participate in it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Why aren't you quitting your job and going and living homeless and eating out of dumpsters? I thought being homeless is easy anyways. You're just kicking back, lazy. You don't have to do anything when you're... No. See, none of this makes any sense. Like, your society claims that all these homeless, they're just lazy drug addicts. Dude, do you know how much money it costs to be a drug addict? None of what your society says about virtually anything makes any sense. How could a person be so poor that they're homeless eating out of dumpsters, but they're a drug addict? Like, you got to make a lot of money to keep up you know, and they're lazy. So being homeless, you just kick back. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to do anything to survive. No, you just kick back and do drugs. That's right. Well, and you know, I mean, you know, and so since it's so easy to be homeless and the money system is fake anyways, why are you working? Why are you going to a job 8 hours a day, 12 hours or a day or whatever? Why are you working if you know the money system is fake? And then you're going around yelling at everyone that the voting system is fake, and if they vote, they're stupid, you know. See, none of this makes it, you know. So back to Christianity, like, Christianity is the same as any and everything else in this Potemkin village world. It's a small world after all, dude. Like, everything is fake. So to hyperfixate on one particular aspect of, like here's this one group that's fake. But what about all the other groups that are just as fake? Pagans, Wiccans, Buddhists, atheists, fake atheists that really, they're so afraid of death that they're in the closet praying, I hope that there's a Jesus, please save me because I don't want to die. But then, they're the amazing atheist and they're, talking all bold about, God isn't even real. And then, but in secret, they're like, oh God, I hope God's real because I don't want to die. Please, if there is a Jesus, please save me. I promise I'll go public and tell everybody that I was wrong, or whatever. Everybody's fake. This is why, and I know you're going to hate that I point this out. This is why the Bible says, I would rather thou were hot or cold. And it's not just the Bible. There's all kinds of different philosophies, archaic old philosophies and religious philosophies and spiritual philosophies that say the same thing. I would rather you were just a real person who practiced something that and believed in something that I totally disagree with. Where I'm like, dude, that's stupid. I would rather you did that than you were just a fake. And when these people, these masses and hordes of fake people, it isn't that, dude, they are fake to them own self. They are believing their own lies. They have been going along, the motions. What is it? They are so fake that they have faked them own selves. Just like the person who's screaming at everyone who voted how they're all stupid because voting is fake. But then that same person is working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for fake money in a money system that's just as fake as the voting system. But they'll never look at that. But they'll continue to look at how all these people that vote are stupid because they voted in a fake rigged system. Meanwhile, they work in a fake rigged money system 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, working for fake money in a fake money. See, they'll never look at themselves. They're fake. I would rather you were just true to your own word, whatever your word is, than you just spew all this bullshit all the time and just make it up as you go along, and you never hold your feet to the fire where you're actually, accountable for your words. All a man has is his word. And so if you're always talking all this bullshit and you never walk your talk, I would rather you just walk your talk, whatever your talk is. I have way more respect for you than just being a bullshitter that all you do is talk all this talk, but you never walk your talk. And that's in Christianity, Buddhism, that's in any and every philosophy you could possibly imagine. Liberalism, conservatism, libertarianism, you name it. Name the philosophy, the spiritual philosophy, name the religion. It's all the same. All these fake people. So yeah, Christianity, it's no different than any and everything else. It's all fake and gay, dude. I would rather you were just a true Christian who walked your talk. And my hat's off to you. If you are, my hat is off to you. Because at least you're, just like I agree with what the Bible says when it says, I would rather thou were hot or cold. It's because you're lukewarm. It's because you don't walk your talk. This is why I will spew you out of my mouth like you fucking suck. You're a lying hypocrite. Walk your fucking talk. Okay? And this is why I love what the Bible says about poverty. Because the Bible says that if you treat poor people differently, like if you have favor towards rich people, and you know, that means you're just a sellout cuck who is just trying to, you know, you're just a sellout, dude. The only reason you like people with money is because you want a piece of the pie. You want to be in the club. That's why you treat poor people like shit. And then when you see people that are rich, you grovel at their feet, and you make sure to, oh, what can I do for you, sir? How can I help you, sir? Oh, you have money? How can I help you, please, sir? Please, can I please help you? Please, sir, let me help you. And then the poor person comes, get out of here, poor person. Can't you see I'm busy with this important gentleman here? You know, all you people that are like that, you're just fake. You're just groveling for shekel. And you're hilarious because you won't even look at yourself. You won't even attempt to consider that. Why not just treat them both the same? You know, the poor person and the rich person. Treat them the same. They're just people. They bleed red just like me and you and everybody else. They both need oxygen to live. They both need fluids and food and shelter. You know, what are the three things in survival? Is water, you know, water, shelter, and food. Everybody needs those just to survive. You know, so why would you treat like the poor and homeless people like shit? Meanwhile, you see somebody who's doing pretty well. Oh shit, you know, and people have written songs about this for years, centuries. People have been pointing this out, and then everybody just ignores it. Because this is all these fake people everywhere. They don't, you know. There's what people want to hear. There's what people want to believe. There's everything else. Then there's the truth. And so you have all these fake people always rejecting the truth, pretending that the truth isn't there. This is what's the big embarrassment with the society that you live in. All these people, it's just a big embarrassment. And poverty is a great example of the embarrassment of the very society that you and I live. Like society is just an embarrassment, you know? You know? But yeah, and the Bible is the only thing I've ever come across that explicitly points this out all throughout the Bible. There is no other. There is no other. And so I guess my question would be is why is it that the Bible is the only thing that explicitly points this out? Where if you read the Bible, it will tell you that you're just a fucking pussy, coward, retarded piece of shit if you're impartial. Like if you treat the poor person like shit and then you treat the wealthy person like oh my God, what can I do? I'll do anything for you because you're rich. There is no other like religious or spiritual or anything and so my question is so what is the big conspiracy? If the Bible is just a big conspiracy, why did they put all that stuff about poverty in it? Why? Like all of this shit about poverty. Okay. Explain how that is this big conspiracy. Or is that's just filler? You know, poverty. Why? Why would the Bible have all this stuff about poverty? Is to trick people into believing in Christianity? See, that doesn't make sense because everybody hates the poor. But the Bible is the only thing that's like, dude, if you hate the poor, you're a fucking retarded pussy. You're a fucking cunt if you hate the poor. And you aren't fooling anybody. Like, it's obvious that you're a cunt. Why would the Bible say that all over in the Bible? Because it can't be to trick people into believing in Christianity. Because everybody hates the poor. So why would the Bible be advocating for this massive group of people in the world that everybody hates? Why? Where's the scam in that? See, and this is the thing. Nobody will be able to explain it to me. The best that a person would be able to do is well, the reason that is to trick all the poor people, so that Christianity can trick all the poor people and then have all those poor people as the slaves of the Christian as well. And so, okay, let's play around with this a little bit. The thing is, dude, is that nobody even knows, like hardly anybody, the general when you're talking generally, in a general sense, nobody even knows that the Bible says all this about the poor. Nobody even knows. Because if all these so-called Christians did know, they would go find some other, they would go, get their Buddhist garb and switch over to Buddhism. They would move to a different religion. See, people don't, you have to read the Bible to know what it says. And once you read the Bible and you really are looking at what does the Bible say, like, dude, like it's totally advocating for the poorest people in the world. And why would it do that? Like, what is the malicious, hidden agenda there? See? And see, nobody will even explain this to me, because this is how much people hate poverty and the poor and the subject of poverty and poor people. They won't even go there. I would rather talk about interdimensional beings and stuff, there's some big giant world conspiracy going on. I'd rather talk about that than talk about the subject of poverty. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Why though? Why? What are you talking? Let's look at what you're talking about. And let's see. So what you're talking about is something that's like super important that people all over the internet are just talking about every day, all the time. Well, that's weird. Strange coincidence that what you want to always talk about just happens to be popular. And there's these big groups that they just, like Flat Earth. You want to talk about Flat Earth, huh? Well, that's kind of a strange coincidence. Because Flat Earth is like a really popular subject. Especially if you were to compare that to the subject of poverty and poor people. So you don't want to talk about poverty and poor people because you'd rather talk about Flat Earth. Strange. I mean, I don't know. It kind of sounds like you're a joiner that's just lonely and looking for, a large group of people that you can fit in with. See, the Bible is the only thing that has the balls to do a full fucking deep dive into the subject of poverty and homeless. The Bible does. But outside of the Bible, nobody does. Not anybody. Look around. Nobody wants to do a deep dive on the subject of poverty and homelessness. But the Bible does. So explain to me, why is it that the Bible does? Is it part of the big conspiracy, hidden agenda conspiracy, and it's some trickery, it's some sleight of hand trickery? And if so, explain that trickery. Like what is the, connect the dots for me as to why the Bible is always talking about advocating for the poor, and why. Explain it. Set aside a little bit of, I know you love talking about the flat earth and the interdimensional beings and all this shit, but why not just spend a little bit of time and just explain to me why it is that the Bible is like virtually the only fucking thing that aggressively and advocates for the poor and homeless. Meanwhile, virtually everything else completely ignores it. And explain why would the Bible do that in its like conspiracy, because the Bible is all this big conspiracy and stuff. So explain that part of it. I mean, who is the target audience when the Bible is talking about aggressively talking about advocating for the poor? Is it the poor? So then the poor are the audience. But do you see a bunch of poor homeless people carrying their Bibles around and talking about homelessness and poverty and how what the Bible says on it? No. That's because the majority of people don't even know that the Bible says all this. And the reason the majority of people don't know what the Bible says about it is because it's a cover-up. It's all being covered up. They don't want people to know what the Bible says on the subject of poverty and shit. They don't, people don't want to hear that. They don't want to know. They don't want to hear. And so they'd rather talk about something invisible like white supremacy, or something else invisible like COVID-19, or something else invisible, like interdimensional beings flooding our earth through CERN, or something else, invisible. Like, what can we talk about that is we need to find something. We're desperate to find something else to talk about because we don't want to look at poverty and homelessness while it continues to grow. So as all this homelessness and poverty continues to grow in your towns and cities and states and country, at what point does it become so bad that you actually start talking about it instead of looking for invisible interdimensional beings? At what point? Or what you could do is you could just kill them all off. Kill all these homeless and poor people off without anybody knowing, and just keep sweeping it under the rug. That way you never have to ever talk about poverty and homelessness. Just maybe like a vaccine or something. Something that won't trace it back to your society, and just kill all these homeless people, and then we'll just keep talking about the Illuminati, and there's this CERN and Illuminati. There's everything else going on. Don't look at these homeless people that we're just we just kill them, and that way we don't have to look at them and talk. Anyways. Yeah, how come nobody's talking about homelessness? Like, how bad would it have to get? Would it have to be like 90% of the United States of America are homeless before people would talk about it? And then would the gatekeepers, the people that control all media, including Alt-Tech and New-Tech, would they even talk about it then if like 90% of the population of your country ended up homeless and were homeless? Would the gatekeepers that control BitChute, would they talk about it then? Like, how bad would it have to get before people would talk about it? How bad? And then consider the possibility that it could get that bad, and the possibility that it's already been that bad for all these years, while you're going on your little adventures, looking for interdimensional beings and stuff like this. You're looking for the invisible, all this invisible stuff, while the real shit that's stranger, that's way more stranger and bizarre than this interdimensional, invisible, fucking blah, 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 is totally happening. And you're so far off the beam, dude. You're just like looking for, that's how in denial your society is in addressing the subject of homeless poverty. And it's an amazing thing to observe your society like in this mass psychosis state of denial. And the question is how bad does it have to get before your society will actually start to look at something that your society is in such chronic mass psychosis denial of? How bad would that thing have to get before your society would actually look at it?